Welcome to this episode of the Sports Detective Podcast Show. My name is James Williams, and today D'Angelo Russell is happy to be a Brooklyn Net. What are we talking about? Well, since D'Angelo Russell got traded to the Brooklyn Nets at the end of December, he's had a lot of quotes come out where he is just glowing about being a Brooklyn Net. He's like, I'm so happy to be here. I love Brooklyn. I love my teammates. I love my coaching staff. I love the playing style here in Brooklyn. I love my role on the team. I want to stay here long term. Just being very glowing of his time with the Brooklyn Nets so far. And it's almost gotten to a point with some of his quotes where it's like, hey, is he taking like a subtle shot at the Lakers where he's saying that he wasn't doing all of those things in LA, but he is doing those things in Brooklyn? You could kind of interpret some of that to be a shot at the Lakers. But he did make a lot of headlines with this interesting quote that I'm going to share with you guys here a few days ago, talking about basically his time in Brooklyn and what it means to be back on the Brooklyn Nets. So this is the exact quote. This is what a reporter asked D'Lo. What did it mean to you to return to Brooklyn? D'Angelo Russell said, "It's great. I would never take it for granted. Coming from where I came from, obviously, I was a little traumatized there. To be here and get the opportunity to just be me, where there's familiarity as well, is just icing on the cake. I'm at the point in my career where I'm not going out and scoring 25 points every night and wowing with numbers. It's a point where I'm trying to gravitate towards doing it the right way. And how I can contribute to winning is my priority. He, Coach Fernandez, lets me do that. He trusts me already, so I can imagine getting to training camp for something like that and having that under my belt with the guys. I think the sky's the limit." He also gave us this quote in talking about, success in Brooklyn versus success in other places. We'll go ahead and, oops, that's the wrong one. I'll go ahead and show you guys this quote now. He was asked, what's been different here for you in Brooklyn where you've had success compared to other places? Russell said, team. I've been on so many different teams where the team's not a priority. To be here, the team is everything from every aspect you can think of. It's team oriented. As a team, we win. As a team, we lose. To be engraved into that and just to fit in is a good feeling. All right, guys. So you look at some of those quotes there, and you can interpret that as this. Like, he is like that last quote there. You just read that quote, and that is a kind of a thing that you would want your player to say. Hey, I'm all about the team. I'm all about winning. We want to be together. We want to have continuity. We want to have good chemistry. But here's kind of the thing with D'Angelo Russell. And obviously, before I even get into that, he's obviously saying this stuff because he's in a contract year. His contract expires this year. The last time he was a unrestricted free agent with the Lakers, no one bit. No one wanted to sign D'Angelo Russell, so then he ends up returning to the Lakers. So I think D'Lo probably knows that his best chance of getting paid anything above a mid-level exception or a vet minimum is to stay with the Brooklyn Nets. So I think that's probably part of the reason why he has been so glowing of being a part of the Brooklyn Nets since he has gotten there. But here's the thing with D'Angelo Russell, and specifically that second quote about him and his career. Do you guys realize that every time that he got traded, the team that traded him won the trade? Seriously, if you go back to the very beginning of his career, he gets traded to the Brooklyn Nets originally from the Lakers. Now, the Lakers didn't keep Brook Lopez, and Magic Johnson, said it publicly, hey, we definitely should have re-signed Brook Lopez and shouldn't have let him go to the Milwaukee Bucks. And Brook Lopez ended up being a guy that was a starter on an NBA title team, got 2 all defensive teams since he was on the Bucks, and maybe he's a Hall of Famer, probably not, but maybe he's a Hall of Famer. So D'Lo for Brook Lopez, like the Lakers won that trade. All right, the next time he moves teams, it's Brooklyn to Golden State. I think it's a little bit unfair to D'Lo to be like, hey, like obviously the Nets won that trade, getting Kevin Durant in exchange for D'Angelo Russell in a sign and trade. So we won't count that one. But he's in Golden State. I was looking this up today. He only plays 33 games on the Warriors. And Steve Kerr is like, nope, I've had enough. I've seen enough. I'm done with this guy. They ship him off to Minnesota for Andrew Wiggins and a pick. I think that pick became Jonathan Kuminga. So he goes to Minnesota. And what happens with the Warriors? Andrew Wiggins becomes the second best player on the team that won the title in 2022. Jonathan Kuminga is a nice, promising prospect. The Warriors won that trade. Okay. The Timberwolves then, what is it, a few years later, end up in this big, crazy trade. It's like a 3 or 4 team trade, end up sending D'Angelo Russell to the Lakers. And in that trade, they get Mike Conley from the Jazz. Well, what happens a year after D'Angelo Russell is no longer on the team? That team goes to the conference finals. That team beats the unbeatable team in the East, or excuse me, in the West, in the Denver Nuggets. They beat them. So they got better without D'Angelo Russell. Now, fast forward to this year. Guys, 2 weeks. It only took 2 weeks after the Lakers traded D'Angelo Russell. Since January 15th, the Los Angeles Lakers have been the best defense in the entire NBA. Basically just moving one player, because even if you looked at that numbers, when they still had Anthony Davis and Anthony Davis missed games, their defense was still good. Once they trade Anthony Davis away and got Luka Doncic, their defense has still been good. The biggest main difference is they don't have D'Angelo Russell. I know Vanderbilt came back and whatever, but the biggest difference is like they traded DFS for D'Angelo Russell. And now the Lakers are a title contender again. They went from being a borderline play-in team to a top 4 seed in the West. Every single team that gets rid of this dude has gotten better. Team wasn't the priority on every team I've been on. Well, then why does every team that you leave get better? Why does a year later the Timberwolves go to the conference finals? The Lakers are now title contenders. Golden State 2 years later is hosting up the Larry O'Brien. What are we doing here? I mean, and that's just kind of the thing too. He's always had these expectations. It's like, oh my God, we got Karl Anthony Towns and D'Lo and Anthony Edwards, big three, bro. Big three, bro. D'Angelo Russell, LeBron James, Anthony Davis got a big three, bro. He's a very talented player, yes, but he's never really taken that much interest on defense. And he's the type of guy, too, that when I saw this multiple times with him playing on the Lakers, and there's a reason LeBron would give him eye rolls, it'd be like less than 2 minutes left in the game. It'd be like 1:47 left in the game, and D'Angelo Russell just pulls up, does a transition 3 with 17 seconds on the shot clock when he's got Anthony Davis and LeBron James on the court with him. Guys, he's not a serious basketball player. He's a little bit of a goofball. That's who he is. That's who he is. Now, that doesn't mean that his career is over. It just means that, I mean, these quotes, if you can read anything out of them, he's actually coming to the realization like, hey, I have to be a role player. If I'm going to survive in the NBA any longer, I'm not a star. I'm not a main ball handler on a good team, let's say. D'Angelo Russell's best path going forward is maybe best case scenario for him, 6-man on a good team, but it's probably more likely a 7th, 8th guy, maybe a 3rd, 4th guard on a good team. That's his ceiling. A little bit of offense off the bench. That's his ceiling now on a good team. So, hey, man, glad you're happy in Brooklyn, but I think I'd be a lot happier being on a team that's competing for a title that actually makes the playoffs rather than a team that's winning 24, 26 games. And the only time we're going to be seeing D'Angelo Russell on our basketball screens probably for the next few years is at the lottery, where he's there representing the Brooklyn Nets is D'Angelo Russell. Oh, D'Lo. He's still in the league. He's still here. I didn't know that. He's averaging like 13, 6, and 4 on the Nets. And they're won 22 games this year. Cool. Hey, man. Maybe you're the problem. Look in the mirror, man. Seems like a nice guy. I know Austin Reeves really liked him. Went golfing with him a lot. But just a little bit of a goofball. Hey, man, sometimes guys are goofballs early in their career and they end up being good role players on really good teams later in their career. J.R. Smith's one that comes to mind. I mean, he still kind of did a little bit of goofball thing in the 18 finals, but we'll digress from that point. All right, that's going to do it for this episode here today. If you guys enjoyed this video, thank you so much. Please subscribe. That is the number one thing you can do to help support the show. Costs you absolutely $0. Please hit that like button. If you hit that like button, then I know I should do more videos like this. And again, leave a comment what you think about the video and maybe some other topics we should talk about on this show. Kind of been a little bit of a content glut right now, so I'd love to hear some suggestions from you guys. Thank you very much for watching. Talk to you next time.